Okay. You there?
I'm here.
Okay, so we should be recording now. Okay, where's my bouncing back and forth the computer with this here. Okay, well, thank you very much for talking with us today. Just for brief introductions, just want to start with who is Ruth McClung? Why is she running for Congress? What's the campaign all about?
So I'm Ruth McClung. I'm running for Congress, District 7, Arizona. I'm sorry, the second question was why am I running?
Well, yeah, why are you running?
I'm running. I really was getting fed up with the direction our country was going. This was last year, and this was before all these many bills had passed. But I really wanted to get out there and do something about it, and I was pretty tired of the representation I was getting in this district.
Right.
And
what is your previous personal history?
I'm sorry?
What's your previous personal history? What's your past experience?
Oh, my past experience in politics, I've been involved in politics since I was about 12. Always the behind the scenes, helping get people elected, doing various things along those lines. Private industry, my background is in physics. I have a physics degree, and I'm currently working as a guidance engineer or a rocket scientist, as we're using as our slogan.
Right. Okay. And what are the important issues to you in this campaign? How do you cast?
I'm sorry, I'm getting beeps.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure if those are on my end or your end. That's really odd. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never heard them before. So that was what are the issues that are important to me?
Yeah. What are the issues that are important to you?
Definitely balancing the budget. That is huge. We need to get government spending down. We need to start to pay off our debts. This is really unsustainable. I'm also believe we need to get the economy going again. We need to look at past history. We need to look at facts. What has worked in the past to actually get our economy jump-started? We're going about this the wrong way. I am a big proponent of the free market economy because in the past it has been shown to work, both in our country and in other countries, both in our government in the United States, but also even in feudalist systems of government. When the government is willing to give up its power, we actually have a more prosperous economy. So that is huge. Definitely in Arizona and in my district, it's quite a bit of border district, and we're dealing with quite a bit of violence coming across the border. So definitely securing our border, trying to protect our citizens and get the violence stopped in Arizona is another huge issue. And then, as I mentioned before, I was pretty disgusted with what was going on last year, and all these bills have passed this year. So hopefully repealing some of the stuff that's been pushed upon us as Americans. We really deserve better. This is unsustainable. These aren't going to work, and we need something better in America. So another big issue is just to try to repeal a lot of the things that have been pushed upon us this past year.
Right. And now you have a relatively Democratic-leaning district. So how do you reach out to Democrats in your district, Democrats and independents who might not vote Republican? And more specifically, how do you, with immigration being such a huge issue in Arizona right now, how do you reach out to people who may or may not agree with you on the issue of SB 1070?
Okay, about this district, it's 45% Democrat, 25% Republican, and 30% independent. And that's with an error bar of about 2%. So those
right.
are rounded off numbers. It's really not as Democrat as a district as, say, Nancy Pelosi's is, but my opponent I'm running against is left of Nancy Pelosi. So he's not representative of this district that isn't even a majority Democrat. Once again, the Democrats in this district tend to be either more moderate Democrat to conservative on social issues, or moderate to more conservative on fiscal issues. And that includes many of more small town. They're what you would call true blue dog Democrats. So once again, the representative we have now does not stand up for this district. He does not represent this district. And if you look at how this district has been being hit by the economy, it is being hit very, very hard. Here in Pima County, which I live in Tucson, has the best numbers when it comes to unemployment, but it's still roughly 9%. which is very high. And it goes all the way to Yuma, which if you talk to the people that live in Yuma, it's 30%. If you look on the government websites, it's roughly 20%. But either way you look at it, if you say 20%, which is the better of the two numbers, it's still 1 in 5. We also have areas that have been hit extremely hard by the housing crisis. Our education in this area is very poor. So there's many things in this district where people are starting to realize whatever's been happening isn't working. It's not working for us. So people are pretty disgusted with this. And I just mentioned all the problems we've been having with our economy, and then our representative just called for a boycott of our state.
Right. And which is the next thing I was going to go into. I mean, for anybody listening to this, once we get it posted, Ruth is running against Raul Grijalva, chairman of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, who has called for boycott of his own state over the immigration law, which my next question is then, Grijalva has drawn condemnations even from some of the other Democrats in your state, including the gubernatorial candidate, Attorney General Goddard. So are you finding that you're having Democrats coming over to your side in the campaign in this one?
Many Democrats are very upset at the boycott. They feel like it was a personal attack on themselves. And many of them know you have every right to not like a bill. As I mentioned before, there's been many bills passed this year that I don't like. But you don't attack the people of your district. You don't attack the working people of the United States. You attack the bill and say, well, you don't like a bill, or why you think we deserve better. So many people are very disgusted with the boycott. And many people are starting to realize that we do have a real problem with the border. Phoenix is becoming the kidnapping capital of the United States, and I do represent a piece of Phoenix. Tucson, the crime is escalating here as well. Everything from the kidnappings as well, but we're having gangs move in. One in particular is MS-13, who one of their favorite operating procedures is to behead people. And these gangs are moving into the United States. They're moving into Tucson. They're moving into Nogales. They're moving into this area. And people are rightly concerned. This is their home. They don't want gangs like that here. And there's people being raped along the border. There's filth, litter, those kinds of things that are being left along the border. So this has really become a humanitarian issue. And people that live down here and are dealing with it every day do understand that. It's not a race issue, it's a humanitarian issue. And it's a huge problem. We have got to do something about it. It's unsustainable. And if you talk to most people, they would agree on that. Now, discussing how to deal with it, that's where you get some complicated issues. And there are some hard issues, because whenever you have people involved, and there's a lot of decent people involved, even if they have broken the law by coming across here illegally, it gets more difficult. But it's really unsustainable. We got to realize that if we start talking things like amnesty, we're just promoting people to come across illegally more. So once again, they're putting their hands into they're putting their lives into the hands of drug cartels again. They're going across the desert. They become part of this underground community where they can be taken advantage by drug cartels. They're the ones that get kidnapped majority-wise, and their families get extorted for money. So we're really promoting people to put their lives in a situation that's very dangerous and is not good. So something needs to happen about this. I would support a guest worker program, so I would support a legal way for people to come in here and work and then go home. I believe with the technology we have, we can make a secure system that does work. In other words, it's not a bureaucratic nightmare to work with. So hopefully we can get the decent people coming here legally, working, then going home. I support legal immigration, but once again, you need to do it the legal process. I know it's a bureaucratic headache, so I would hope to simplify that to some extent. I do know some people that immigrated here, and it is a big pain for them. They've come from many different countries. But do that sort of thing. So let's make a good legal path, but then we really have to fight the illegal pathway as well to hopefully get a handle on this and get to a situation that is more sustainable.
Right. Yeah, and obviously immigration is going to be a big issue in your district, but obviously there are a lot of other issues confronting the country right now. So let's say the election was already over and I'm interviewing Congresswoman McClung on her first day in office. What is your agenda? What committee assignments do you think you would be looking for potentially, and what other congressmen do you see as your potential allies in Congress? Where do you put yourself in the current Republican caucus?
I would definitely like to line myself with anyone that's going to work hard to balance the budget. It is crucial. It's unsustainable. We have got to do something about this spending. Families can't live like the government. We can't just keep spending. The government can't keep doing that. So I would like to align myself along with people that want to balance the budget. And once again, people that want to repeal some of these bills that have been passed through. I think this financial overhaul bill is going to wreak havoc on the economy. I wouldn't be surprised if it pushes us into a second depression. We really need to get rid of that. This health care bill, once again, I think it's disastrous for our health care. It's going to hurt our good health care. They had to bribe people to vote for it. On the Democrat side, we need to get rid of that. So once again, I'd like to align myself with people along those lines. When it comes to committee assignments, I mentioned earlier my background is in physics, so I believe I would have the greatest good on committees such as energy, science, technology, things along those lines. There's also a committee for, I believe it's climate change and energy independence. I saw that. I would really like to be on that committee because I'd hope to bring some reason into it. Some of the plans I've seen when it comes to energy or discussing climate change, I don't think are using science. They're using political rhetoric and not real science. So I'd like to bring some sanity to those kinds of committees. And I believe I would be a great benefit to this country to hopefully at least be able to talk with people along those lines, other scientists, and get good reasonable aspects and bring it into Congress, because we don't have much scientific reasoning in Congress right now. Right,
and that is actually an issue. I remember I talked to a congressman once in a former job about this. I think it was just during the health bill. It was discussing some overhaul bill, and the issue at that point was engineering. But the guy spent the better part of 10 minutes talking to me about how little professional expertise there was on the actual committee. Okay, well that's about all I have. What do people do if they want to help you, if they want to get involved in the campaign, maybe for people who aren't necessarily in your district?
We're trying to get active on Facebook, on the Internet. My opponent doesn't do that at all. We have a website. It's www.ruth4az.com, or that's RUTH4az.com. You can email us through the website, give us information. Of course, we always need money. There's no one paid on our campaign staff, but we do need signs. We need literature. We are doing advertising, trying to get the word out. So we'd appreciate any help we can get, and this is our year, hopefully take back our country and get the freedom back to the people.
All right. Well, thank you very much for talking to us. I'm going to turn the recording off. Stay on the line for a second afterwards. Be right back.
Okay.